channel, we finish up Legends Series 17 with the Chase Ken Shamrock unboxing, followed by rankings from my least favorite to my favorite. Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another WWE Mattel Legends Series 17 unboxing and review. And today, we've got the Target exclusive Chase Edition Ken Shamrock. But for all your wrestling figures that are not Target exclusives, make sure you're hitting up Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. But today, the mighty Ken Shamrock returns, and you guys know Ultimate Warrior, Terry Funk, the Road Warriors, Ken Shamrock playing all the hits. Ken Shamrock, an all-time favorite of mine. Absolutely love Ken all the way back to the UFC Pancrase days, of course into the wrestling days, over to TNA, all points in between. So I'm very excited to get another Ken Shamrock in my collection. And I'm very excited about this blue Chase figure. Of course, green being the regular edition. We already unboxed on the channel. Check out that review. But of course, we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews here on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So without further ado, let's see what Mr. Shamrock is up to. Old Ken looking good in there. All the extra hands. Got the Intercontinental title belt. And Ken looking only like a Ken Shamrock could look in Legends Series 17, of course. True Effects, Glamour Shot, Ken Shamrock, Elite. All the hits there. And there's Ken on the side. Kind of that artsy graphic. Same thing on the other side. WWE logo down low. Of course, you get the Glamour Shot once again. You get the blurb. You got the big cross sell. And of course, in this very video, after we get done unboxing him, we're going to rank this entire wave from my favorite, or to my least favorite to my favorite, I should say. So stay tuned for that here, and make sure you get your list together and put it in the comments down below. Without further ado, once again, let's make sure we know what's going on with Ken Shamrock. Let's read the back of the package here. Titles: Intercontinental Champion, World Tag Team Champion, owner of a piece of Kyle's heart. That's what it says right there. The world's most dangerous man already established himself as one of the all-time greats inside the Octagon when he debuted in WWE. Shamrock's reputation for snapping and tapping preceded him. Once in the zone, he would refuse to let go of his submissions, making him one of the most feared superstars in the locker room. So there you go, Ken Shamrock doing Ken Shamrock things is what's going on right there. Get him out of the package here. Of course, you got that Legends background. We're used to that by now. See you later. Up high, goodbye. Now we get the old plastic prison, and Ken's locked in at the ankles, or I should say the knees, more like it. Got all the extra hands there, all the fun stuff. Let's cut old Kenny boy out. Ken Wayne Shamrock, an all-time great. One of the guys, out of all the guys that never got to hold the world title belt in the WWF, you got your Mr. Perfects I would have liked to seen. Ken Shamrock is right there at the top of the list for me. I think there was a short window in there that would have just been absolutely fantastic to see him as champion, but it just was not in the cards. It was just not in the cards, unfortunately. Get this out. There it is. Twist ties going everywhere. Can I get these hands out? 1, there's 2, 3, and 4. There it is. See you later, up high. Oh, off the wall there. There it is. Put the old scissors away. And let's see what's going on with old Ken Shamrock here. Of course, the same hands we saw with his prior version. We do get the 2 pointing fingers. He's got to point at somebody, tell him who's boss. Say, hey, you listen up, buddy. He's got one of those right there. Of course, you got the UFC-style gloves on Ken Shamrock. Always cool to see. Then you do get the gripping hands on Ken Shamrock. So we do get those. And then, of course, he does come with 2 fists of fury like a Ken Shamrock should. Very happy to see that there. I'm always there for that. Gonna pop this out. Of course, he's got the Intercontinental title belt, same one we saw earlier. A beautiful, beautiful belt. Not my favorite. Of course, the classic 80s one is my favorite, but right behind it is going to be the Ken Shamrock era title belt. I really do like this one. Very bright, very vibrant colors on this one, so it does look really, really good. I am here for that. Now we turn our attention over to Ken Shamrock, the figure, and I guess let's start with the articulation on this one. The arms do go around. You get the old bicep cut, double jointed, pinless elbows, happy to report. You do get the wrist tape here, I guess that is removable with the hands back and forth, side to side. Head, of course, removable side to side, back and forth. I got a little bit of paint smudge action on my face on my Ken, so I'm going to have to try to clean that up. Got to be careful with that. You got the ab crunch. You got the waist articulation. The big old Ken Shamrock splits. If he needs to jump over a Dan Severn type character, he can do that. You got the thigh cut. Double jointed knees, of course. You do got the big old knee pads on here. I like the blue, of course, looking different than the green one we'll have out here in a second. Blue boots, got the black, the silver. You got the boot cut, ankle articulation, back and forth. Very tight ankles, as we usually see with Mattel, of course. You got Shamrock on the tights right there on the front. Very, very cool. Very iconic. I think most people think of Ken Shamrock, of course, in the red. I think that's what most really gravitate to. I even think back to like some of the pinks he wore back in Pancrase. Of course, this blue I do really remember. Green was kind of late era, and a lot of you guys pointed out, of course, he did wear black, and he wore black in Pancrase in the UFC as well, so he's really known for being in black. But really, Ken is a guy that can make any color work. He's just one of those guys. He can be wearing bright pink ones, bright yellow ones, fuchsia, maybe a teal. He can make all of them work. He's Ken Shamrock. Who's going to say something to him? Nobody is. But really, really good figure, much like the other one that we already unboxed. I love the face sculpt on this. He's kind of got the beat-in nose there. Ken, of course, a life in the streets, fighting to survive, looking really good. And he's skinny, but really jacked up, really powerful, just like Ken Shamrock always does look. Just a fabulous, fabulous looking figure. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. You know I would. And does he fit on a ringside collectible stand? Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%, of course. And he fits like a glove right there on the stand. Of course, you got to get the other version of Ken out. We get the one in green. Obviously, it's the same figure. It's just instead of green, we get blue over here. We do get Shamrock on the boots on the green one. We don't have that on the blue one, so that is a point of difference as well. As always, the color difference is something. I'll have one with the Intercontinental title belt around his waist, one maybe over his shoulder, give him different hands, make them as different as possible. That's what I always do with my Chase figures, as you guys know. And then, of course, another iconic blue Ken Shamrock. We're going back to the Jakks Bone Cruncher days. Why wouldn't we? We got old Ken there in blue. Just kind of reminded me of the good old days, the old Jakks Bone Crunchers. Not everybody's favorite, but I say as far as playability-wise, the best playability figures of all time for wrestling figures. That's my opinion. Yours may be different, but I always think of that. Of course, you got his other Elite, his older one. A lot of people are going to say they prefer this one, of course, because of the soft goods robe. The robe is really nice on this one, but we do get that. And then, of course, I think we busted this out before. We got the Jakks Classic Superstars version of Ken. I mean, there's a lot more Bone Crunchers. There's a Stomp figure we could pull out. There's quite a few Kens. I'd have to do the simple math and look at my collection, but do we have 10 Ken Shamrocks? If we have 10 Ken Shamrocks, we're going to do a Ken Shamrock top 10 on the channel one of these days, so stay tuned for that. But I absolutely love these Kens. Having Ken and the Ultimate Warrior in the same set, if they would have had Terry Funk in that, if Chainsaw Charlie would have been in the Legends line instead of the Elite line, I probably would have had a heart attack and a stroke at the exact same time and died right here at the table. That's what would have happened to me. It would have been just too much for one set to contain is what would have happened. So here, I'm basically on life support, getting the Dingo Ultimate Warrior and Ken Shamrock times 2. And really Warrior times 2 as well. It's almost too much for my heart to take, but I got through it. I'm glad you were here to support me through it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. But this Ken, man, I'm here for it. I'm here for it all day. But now we turn our attention over to the entire series. It's time. It's time. It's time we rank them from my least favorite to my favorite. All right, let's rank Legends Series 17 from my least favorite to my favorite. And I gotta be honest, this is probably the easiest rankings I've ever had to do here. Of all these ranking videos we've done here on the channel, as I pretty much had an idea starting off going into this, like I always do, and it stuck throughout the whole thing. And I did include both versions of the Ultimate Warrior because we did get that extra head, and I guess we'll start it off. So technically here, we have 6 figures. Ultimate Warrior with the traditional Ultimate Warrior head, he's going to be number 6. Yes, it is true. It's just I wish they would have gave us a different head that matched this a little bit, or a little bit of something different. It just feels a little strange, feels like it was just thrown in there because maybe not everybody wanted a Dingo Warrior. Not really sure the reasoning here, but it's still great to get an Ultimate Warrior. I'm definitely buying 3 of these. I already have bought 3 of these, so it works for me. But as far as what we're looking for, as far as stuff that makes sense, we're going to call this one number 6. Then we go to number 5. Very easy for me. It's going to be AJ Styles. I love that the Mattel team is doing things like this, giving us a throwback AJ Styles to WCW, but really we're thinking of this as TNA. The Nitro shirt really does go a long way. There's some uses you could do outside of AJ Styles with that. I do like the point of there. I think a lot of people will dive in on this one on clearance for these t-shirts. I think that is a smart move. But it's AJ Styles and not what we really think of in this day and age. Is there a lot of TNA fans that wanted a TNA representation? There's some of them out there. but really just feels very, very plain Jane, and I think that's how it's going to perform at retail, very plain Jane-like. I do anticipate this one to go to deep clearance. Might be worth picking up a couple extra of these down the road. A lot of customization options. I'd like to find a TNA version of a shirt or something for AJ and try to turn this into a TNA AJ Styles for me. So there's number 6, there's number 5. Then we go to number 4, and number 4 is an easy one for me once again. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. A lot of fun with this figure, but it doesn't hold a candle to the original Ringside Collectible release. That is the best one out of the 3. But like I said in the video, if you missed out on those, you missed out on the Walmart one, this is a good enough substitute that will get you by. Cool figure, just nowhere near as cool as the Dingo Warrior or Ken Shamrock after all. So there's 6, 5, 4. Now we're down to 3, 2, 1. Number 3 is a tough one. It really is a pick-em. But I'm going to go number 3 as the green Ken Shamrock. I love Ken Shamrock. I've made it be known on all these videos, of course. But the green, not as iconic to me as the blue. That's basically the only decision between the two. But I love having both these figures. And I'm going to go blue at number 2. Very easy. Once again, like I said, it's very close between these two. And no doubt in my mind from the get-go, the Dingo Warrior going to be number 1. You guys know I love the Warrior, and I love to get such a deep cut, old school cut like this in the collection. Very, very fun. So I'm really happy they gave us a Dingo Warrior. Would love to have the Blade Runners someday. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but more Warriors the better. And like I've been saying on the channel, it's been a little quiet in the news front for Ultimate Warriors in 2023. I hope we get a few different representations sooner the better. Hopefully Access at WrestleMania, something like that. They'll announce some more Ultimate Warrior figures for somebody like me. But a very, very good Legends set here in Legends Series 17. Like I said, Ken Shamrock, Ultimate Warrior, 2 of my all-time favorites in wrestling. AJ Styles, a nice deep cut here. Shawn Michaels, you can't go wrong with. He's got a big fan base, wanting all different options throughout his career. This makes a lot of sense to get this back out there for collectors. So a very solid set, one of the most solid sets in a long time in the Legends waves. It'll be interesting. It seems like stores are very heavily flooded with these. We'll see what happens. We'll see where clearance goes on Legends Series 17. And now we turn our attention to Legends Series 18. Have to imagine the pre-order will be up here in the next week or so. I would have to think. We'll see what happens with that. But more Legends goodness to come. And I'm sure more to come down the way, down the path, whatever you want to call it. So there it is, Legends Series 17. But what say you guys out there in YouTube land? What is your order? Can you rank them? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. You might as well like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day. And then some, as you guys all know. And of course, we got even more videos over on Patreon and early access to videos like this. Bonus content, exclusive content, Q&As, giveaways, you name it. And best of all, you do support the channel. Also support the channel over at Pro Wrestling Tees. And then don't forget about social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for the Dingo Warrior, Ken Shamrock, Shawn Michaels, AJ Styles, and the Ultimate Warrior, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon. For the Ultimate Warrior, Ken Shamrock, Shawn Michaels,